Welcome to another day in the Matrix, Waters Above Crypto. Wishing you all a great start to your week. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations. The crypto market has remained slightly sideways since moving up into the recent April new moon, and we could see the volatility kicking in on some of the altcoins. So in today's video, I'm going to start off sharing some significant numbers around Satoshi Nakamoto, since today is their fake birthday of April 5th, and then I'll jump into the charts and do some technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP to share the setup for this week. And also just a reminder, the new month has started on Patreon for the month of April. If you've been patiently waiting to join, I greatly appreciate your support. You can join today by going to patreon.com/watersabove to sign up for the Mastermind community membership, and you'll get instant access to my exclusive Patreon posts, all of my weekly Red Pill podcasts. That's my technical analysis podcast where I do a weekly market wrap up, and I cover a bunch of different altcoins that the community members vote on. You'll also get access to our community Discord group chat, and you'll get live updates to see what I'm personally buying or selling. Recently, I just did a big sell order on Zilliqa and then reinvested some of those funds into Strong. So for those of you that want to see those updates, you'll be able to by becoming a Patreon over at patreon.com/watersabove. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. And anyone who becomes a Patreon supporter of mine gets the best discounts on my courses. So with that being said, let's take the red pill. Now, you guys have been probably hearing me say this many weeks in advance, telling you about Satoshi Nakamoto's 47th birthday and how I was anticipating Bitcoin to hit 47,000 on this exact day. And what we saw happen earlier today at 8:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, I've taught you guys that this entire market, the global market, including cryptocurrency, operates on Eastern Standard Time Zone, New York time. That is what runs the market, okay? And what we're seeing is at 8:21 a.m., April 5th, on this exact date, we hit $47,000 Bitcoin. And since we've pulled back now around 45,800, the overall crypto market's kind of just settling down. Again, we had a lot of bullish momentum into the March monthly close. And again, it's because the new moon was on April 1st. And like I've taught you guys, April is typically a decent month when it comes to overall history of not only the stock market, but also cryptocurrency. But another more important thing is the lunar cycle and how around a full moon, we typically see our pullbacks, and around a new moon is typically when we see short-term pumps. So we are bullish around new moons and bearish around full moons. And so far, this has played out pretty much perfectly. We've saw the short-term high for Bitcoin coming in pretty much within a day of the new moon of April. And we saw a bit of a correction, but of course, manipulating the price perfectly back up to 47,000 on this exact day of Satoshi Nakamoto's 47th birthday. As you can see here, April 5th, 1975 is the artificial date of this individual, and measured to today is 47 years. And this is very important. And remember, a moment ago, I brought up 8:21 a.m. and the significance of 8:21. Well, 8 hours and 21 minutes is a total of 501 minutes. So I'll just quickly show you that. 8 times 60 minutes in an hour plus 21, giving you a total of 501. Now, the reason that 501 is so important is because in the rules of numerology, you remove that 0 and you get 51. And what a coincidence that today is the 51 date numerology, and the mirror of 51 is 15, the standard date numerology. So remember this code, guys. I share it with you. I go over all this stuff all the time. None of this is coincidence. It's just how the market operates. So, and another note to make, today is Tuesday, the day of Mars, Martes. And remember this 51 and 15, which is today's date numerology. And of course, Mars in Gematria equals 51 and 15, just like 8:21 a.m. means this particular price of $47,000 Bitcoin on the 47th year of age for Satoshi Nakamoto happened 501 minutes into the day. Like, you know, it's a mic drop moment. It really is. So let's keep going because, of course, there's more significance to this number 15 and 51. Well, the 15 is really important this particular year because that 15 again comes back to Tiger, 15 in Chaldean, and we're in the year of the Tiger. So, of course, Satoshi Nakamoto turns 47 on this date because 47 is the 15th prime number. So let me just show you that really quickly. 47, and you can see, is the 15th prime. So he turns 47, and of course, today's date numerology is the 15. The prime numbers are so important, guys. So this is also very important because we're in the month of April, and April also equals 15 in Chaldean. And it was another reason why there's a little bit of, sort of this anticipation that this month will be pretty good for XRP because XRP also equals 15. But I want to get back on track with the Satoshi Nakamoto decode. So April giving us that 15, and of course the name for April comes from Apru, which has to deal with Aphrodite, and remember that 51. So we have 51 in Aphrodite, just like today's date numerology is the 51, which is the mirror of the 15. And another crazy thing is the last time that Bitcoin was trading at 51,000 was December 28th. I'll just quickly type that in right here, in 2021. And you can see December 28th, 2021 was giving us the date numerology of 81 and 18. And why is that so important? Because Venus is Aphrodite, and Venus equals 81 and 18, all right? So just think about how wild that is. This whole 51 connection and 15 that we're talking about, the last time Bitcoin was trading around that price was on this exact day, which gave us the date numerologies of 81 and 18, all right? And Venus is love, and that's why in the movie The Matrix, Trinity was called Trinity, because she is the Trinity. This is amazing how this date numerology landed on the day leaving 3 days left in the year. I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So Neo being the one, and he finds love, and love is Trinity, Venus, Aphrodite, or Apru, which comes back to April, which is this month we're in. And of course, Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday is in the month of April. So this really comes full circle. So another thing to mention, just to talk about, let's get these dates corrected really quickly just so we could stay on track. We have this 47-year connection, but let's look at the date that Satoshi was born. This would be April 5th in 1975. And why this is so important is because we've actually talked about some of these numbers quite recently. This 103 and the 31. So the 103 is the 27th prime number. Let me just quickly show you that. And that 27 matters a lot. Again, think about the number 27 and how, of course, April 5th leaves 270 days left in the year, the 27, all right? So this is important because the 27, the mirror of the number 27 is 72, and this comes back to Bitcoin. Remember, everything is mirrored, all right? And why that 23 matters, and this is where you've been hearing me talk lately about the number 103. Well, 23 in Bitcoin ties to Mercury, 23 Chaldean, and Mercury equals 103. All right, again, that being the 27th prime number. And this all comes back to Jupiter, 27 in Chaldean, Jupiter being the king of the gods. Okay, so Satoshi is Saturn when we're considering the mythologies, and the mythologies play a huge role into how all of this actually works. I said this in my last video. If you're going to get into astrology, don't just stop at tropical. Don't just stop at sidereal. don't just stop at Vedic. Learn your mythologies, because when you learn your mythologies, you have a backbone and a base knowledge behind what it is that you're learning that's happening, because it's all analogy and it's very, very deeply rooted into what's going on here, this gnosis, if you will. So again, Satoshi, starting with Sat, is Saturn, all right? And this is very, very important. Also, a couple of days ago was the 93rd day of the year, April 3rd. You could see that 93, and that again ties back to Saturn, but that's just a little side note. More importantly, where this is going is this connection with Satoshi with the 103 and the 31 and how this all ties back to Saturn, all right? So those of you that are into tarot, you'll know that the 13th tarot card in the major arcana is the Death card, and the Death card is showing you the Grim Reaper, and the Grim Reaper is Death, and Death is Saturn, Father Time. Okay, so that 31 and 103 connection is not it's so obvious now. In the rules of numerology, you're going to remove the 0 from that 103, giving you 13, and the mirror of 13 is 31, which is the date numerologies that Satoshi was born on, which is the 13, and that goes back to Death in tarot. And then, of course, Satoshi was born on a Saturday, the day of Saturn, okay? And why this all makes so much sense and why this all matters so much. And one crazy, like, mind-blowing side note, Saturday is Saturn's day, and get ready for this. I mean, this is really quite a bit, all right? Saturn's day equals 142. And Bitcoin today on Satoshi Nakamoto's 47th birthday turned 47. Bitcoin hits 47,000 at 8:21 a.m. And 8:21 is the 142nd prime number, just like Saturn's day equals 142. And Satoshi was born on Saturday. That's just a side note, mind-blowing connection between the Gematria, the math, the numerologies, hitting 47K on his 47th birthday. I mean, it's pretty wild how this all comes together. But where this all starts to make sense is Saturn Day, or Saturday, is the Sabbath, okay? And the Sabbath has everything to do with the Shemitah, because Shemitah is the sabbatical year, okay? So with sabbatical year, we're getting a very important number, guys, 47, okay? Just like today is Satoshi's 47th birthday, and Bitcoin hit 47,000. 47 is coming back to sabbatical year, and that is the Shemitah. And notice a key number we're getting right here on sabbatical year, the 119. That is 9/11 backwards. And this is where it gets very deep, because September 11th, the World Trade Center attacks happened during a Shemitah year, okay? Remember, I've taught you guys this almost a year ago now, that the Shemitah is not a joke. It is where restructuring of reality starts to happen, okay? And every big shift in consciousness happens and becomes more amplified every Shemitah. So what seems to be such a horrible time is actually quite an illuminating time for the beings that were meant to wake up, for the beings who are remembering their truths. So not to get super deep here, but this 9/11 backwards, and of course 9/11 happened on a Shemitah, a sabbatical year. And why this is so important is because if we take from September 11th of 2001, and remember that 2001, if you look at that with the rules of numerology, that gives you the 21. But let's measure it to this year's September 11th. And what you're going to see is something very important. It will be the 21st anniversary from the 201 year, the 21 to the 21. And we were just talking about the Sabbath and the sabbatical year. And the Sabbath is Saturn 21 in multiple ciphers, but more importantly, the Chaldean. All right. And remember how many Bitcoins are circulating in supply, 21 million Bitcoin. Okay. So a little theory of mine, when Bitcoin becomes 93% in circulation, that's probably when it's going to start approaching six-digit Bitcoin. But that's just a side note. Right now, it's about 90.5% circulating. So let's consider what's going on here. Sabbatical year, which I just showed you, giving you that 119, which is 9/11 reversed. 9/11 from the day that it happened to this coming 21st anniversary, that all ties back into Saturn. And you could see this date left 111 days left in the year. And that 111, of course, ties back to where it happened, which was New York. All right. This is all a code. And the 9/11 ritual was all about the Twin Towers. And remember the code that I showed you guys a couple weeks back when we were sort of predicting what would happen for the Super Bowl, when we accurately guessed that we would see the Bengals lose and the Rams win, because the Rams have everything to do with that positive aspect that we were sharing in the code, whilst the Tigers, or the Bengal Tigers, had everything negative. And this is kind of how we were perceiving the code. And I was sharing this, how Ukraine and Russia together gives us that tie to the Tigers, and the connection with Ukraine to the Rams. And you could see this gives us 166 when you type in Ukraine, Russia together. And guess what? Twin Towers gives you 166. All right. So this is so important, guys, because the word ritual equals 17 in Chaldean, and the date numerology of the 21st anniversary of September 11th is on a 17 date numerology. 9 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equaling 17. And we know that that was a ritual, all right? And remember that 27 that we were talking about, all tied back to Satoshi's birthday. So this is very important. One more thing. You notice that the date numerology, the way that I like to do it, where I add up double digits, equals 62. Well, you'll see this is very, very amazing how this all comes together. World Trade Center equals 62. The date numerology on this exact day equaling 62 for September 11th, the 21 years apart, and World Trade Center equals 62. That's a lot. You know, this is a pretty deep code. So again, all of this ties back to Shemitah, the sabbatical year, the 7-year cycle, just like you're seeing that 77 right there. All right. So remember, 7 sevens is a very important thing. And we could see right there with Twin Towers, we get that 49, and 49 is the square root of 7. It's the 7 sevens. And we are in the 7th cycle of Shemitah. We are in what is considered Jubilee. Jubilee will be in the time frame of after September 27th of this year, okay? So moving into October, we will be in the 50th year of the super cycle as we know it. And this is where we start to see massive change in the world, all right? So the 2 years before Jubilee is always where the events kick off. And that's why we had the C word. And then during that transition, we have huge market bubble form. And then after that market bubble forms, the bubble pops. And then there's a redistribution of wealth and a restructuring of the way logistics operate. You know, currencies can start to be devalued substantially, and we just see restructuring. So this is why Shemitah is no joke. And I just want everyone to take this code a little bit more seriously as we get closer towards September, because we're going to start seeing that the world is going to, you know, not really know how to react to this, but you guys will, because you are already prepared. So let's move into the TA. Let me delete this craziness, because we don't ever look at the minute chart unless we're decoding. You guys know me. I try to keep it to nothing smaller than the 4 hour. One moment. Just clearing my voice really quickly. Okay, so we have a beautiful setup going on here in the Bitcoin chart. Again, I did start this video off by saying that we've been sideways since we've pumped into the new moon. So the new moon was here on this transition. Pretty much we're trading around the same price that we were on the date of the new moon. We have this yellow trend line here, which has been playing as a resistance going back to the start of this year. So we see we got rejected here. We gravitated towards it again in February, again in March, and then recently finally broke above it. And you know, when you have a resistance, you want to back test it as a new support. So this back test is very key. Getting rejected around the zero point 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level and backtesting key resistance levels as potential new support is needed. You don't just want charts breaking out in a straight line. So like I told you before, we don't have the eclipse until April 30th, which gives us some time. We know that we have a full moon coming in like about 12 days or so, 11 days. So we could see a little bit of like, some bottoming out as we know it into the next 10 days or so, but that would be needed. And all we really want is to see Bitcoin kind of get into 51K, break into this area right here. And this $54,000 level would be a really ideal spot right around the 702 fib. That's how the market reacted in the last bull run. We gravitated towards the 702 fib, which I believe ETH actually just traded into like 2 days ago. Okay. So this structure we're getting right now is pretty nice. We are seeing a little bit of a cross potentially on the daily MACD to the downside, but what we see on the larger time frames, like the 2-day, is we're looking good. We go to the 3-day, we're seeing that we're looking pretty good. 5-day, we're looking great. I mean, so on the larger time frames, things are looking amazing. Look at this weekly chart, guys. We're seeing MACD bullish cross on the histogram. Then if I zoom in and I turn off some of these drawings and I turn on our exponential moving averages, we're going to see that we've been trading above the 21 exponential, which is this orange exponential moving average. Now, getting above the 21 and seeing this blue moving average, which is the 13 EMA, flip above the 21 and how they're all coiling together, the moment that happens on a weekly chart, that's pretty incredible. Okay, that's typically when we see some reversals to the upside, right? So when we're looking at this, all things considered, this is pretty solid. I mean, we're just starting to make some bullish crosses on the 2-day and 3-day. You could see that right there. What I just mentioned about the weekly chart with the blue getting above the orange, we've started to make that happen on the 3-day. And the next 3-day closes tomorrow night. So if we could maintain closing above this 45 into the 46K level tomorrow night, we're going to start to see this 13 exponential cross above the 34 exponential, and this will start moving more into bullish posture. Again, this is positive for the overall crypto market. This is typically what we expect in the month of April. The 2-day, 100% bullish posture. So I'll run through it. The 13 is above the 21, is above the 34 exponential moving average. The RSI is above 50, and we could see MACD bullish. All right, so we need to pay attention to larger time frames. Don't get so caught up in this short-term volatility, especially on weekdays when the stock market is open. The stock market is where the liquidity is at, okay? And this crypto market has very, very low overall market cap comparatively to what's going on in the world stage. So once we see the stock market close today, we could see liquidity get injected into the crypto market. And that's pretty much how it goes. When the stock market is closed overnight, we're seeing that liquidity is bringing volatility. The volatility is entering the crypto market. Okay. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind. When we're looking at the daily, it's still pretty damn good. I mean, we're bullish on the EMAs. We can see rejections at the 200 simple moving average. This happened a couple times, which is this green moving average right there. Completely fine. What I like to see is how we're holding this 13 exponential moving average on the daily. Okay, that's very good. If we start closing below the 21 exponential moving average, that's when we would suspect a larger swipe down, probably to the 55 SMA. So just keep that in mind. We could see that happen. That would not be weird to see a 42K Bitcoin this month, especially around the full moon. But how quickly can we move from 42K up to 50K? It's nothing. Bitcoin does that in a single day. So we can see Bitcoin literally move up 20% over the course of a 3 or 4 day, time span. It's happened before. So if we get washouts, just be calm. You want to start considering like full on bearish if we were to break below 38K. We start closing below 38K, that's when the alarm bells sound off. But structurally right now, we are in a noticeable uptrend, all right? We have lows, higher lows, high, slightly higher high, but more importantly, new highs and back testing those prior highs, which were previous resistance. So from a technical perspective, this is perfectly normal. The fact that we saw the esoteric 47K on 47th birthday of Satoshi come into fruition with a rejection plus being pushed down a little bit, that's signs that this market is manipulated by this code, and now we just kind of got to let it play itself out, be calm. And if you don't know how to trade, don't be trading right now. So what's going on with ETH is pretty interesting. We see that this 200 simple moving average, it was very similar to Bitcoin, but we've actually closed the daily above it a couple days ago. Now we're just building some structure. We did get overly bullish on ETH a little too fast, and ETH loves to do this. It loves to just climb up day after day after day. We saw that happen back here too. So you see right here, once ETH went bullish, it just climbed up like it looked like it was jagged when you were experiencing it, but when you were zooming out, you see these breakouts for ETH, how it's just candle after candle after candle in an uptrend. This is where this coin gets a little sneaky on people. You don't suspect it, but it'll start to do this just like it is now. Okay, so look at this structure here, look at this structure here, look at what we're doing. Once we broke that level right there of 32,000, which is what I warned you guys about, 32 to 33, this is where we start seeing trend reversal for ETH, and it loves to grow gradually. So I'll increase this chart and I'll show you guys one other thing that was very helpful for people, especially over on Trading Wolves. You guys remember this? I had this yellow trend line and I told you guys about this trend line. I gave you the exact price of 35,075. Actually, for that matter, if we go back to my last video, and I don't really point this out too often because I try to remain humble, but I told everyone rejections at this level around 48, suspect 44, and we literally came back to 44 since I released that work, all right? So I said to everyone the downside levels on Bitcoin to expect, we reached those. Then I told everyone what to expect for ETH on the upside, and we reached that perfectly at the 702 fib. So go back and watch my last video if you want confirmations for that, but it was very, very accurate. So again, this isn't my opinion. I'm just reading the charts, and when you're doing technical analysis and charting, you just want to be able to consider the highest probability. This has nothing to do with emotions or ego or any of that, okay? We decode, we study the charts, we apply the probabilities. Plain and simple. There's no emotions here. Like I tell everyone, don't be a bear, don't be a bull, be a wolf. Follow the moon, and you always win this game. So what we're seeing right now is beautiful. We've actually gotten multiple wick rejections perfectly into that trend line, a trend line that I've been showing you guys for months now, and we finally gravitated up to it in a pretty much straight line. Perfect rejection at the 702 fib. Now what we're wondering next is, will we get above it? And if we get above it, we should back test it, because if we back test it, we could pop and pretty much have a double top within a week, or we could continue into price discovery. We just need to take it one thing at a time. So it was beautiful to see that play turn out on ETH. We didn't really need to get too fancy with moving averages or RSI or MACD or any of that. We just played off the overall trend, the trend line, and our fibs. It's a beautiful setup. It's really nice to see. Now, again, for those traders out there, this was kind of an ongoing discussion that we were sharing in Trading Wolves over on Patreon. So it's beautiful to have that stuff be called out and then watch it come to fruition. So to wrap this up quickly, we have XRP, again, rejections around the 702, and this is because we pulled a bearish fib. So I've been pulling on this particular ETH chart. I've been liking to do my analysis by pulling from this wick over here, on February 22nd, all the way up to the April 15th high of 2021. And you can see that we've been actually holding this golden pocket area with one dip down into the 888 going back on the January timeframe. So this is beautiful, and I really like this particular fib pull for this particular chart. So again, the better you get at TA, the more savvy you get at charting, you're going to kind of just see what works best for you. And remember this white trend line, we are still riding outside of it. So it was beautiful to see us break out of it again, back test it, but now we really want continuation. This is getting a little bit arduous. I'm sure a lot of XRP holders out there are getting bored. They're getting worried. They're like, oh, I'm seeing other coins pop off, but this one isn't. And that is when XRP loves to just blindside everyone. I know this coin like the back of my hand. I've been holding it since it was 17 cents. I've de-risked it like 5 times. I'm not saying any of this to like showboat or to boast, but it's just because I've been studying this chart 15 hours a day sometimes, going back a year ago. So I did my job on this. I made a lot of money on this, and now I've helped a lot of people make a lot of money on this, and I know the way this coin likes to move. It will wait, just like we have the fear and greed index for Bitcoin. this coin has like a boredom index, and it's like once it gets you as bored as humanly possible, it just straight line breaks out. I love that it does this too, because I've had this quote for a while, like this saying of buy the boredom. You know, buy the blood, buy the boredom. You keep buying the boredom, and you notice that repeatability of your patience pays off. So with that being said, this structure is still in a noticeable uptrend even on the macro. I mean, we have an extreme low over here from the SEC event. We have that dip down to where I started my fib. Then we have the retest of the 888, secondary retest of the 888 fib, still with a higher price. I mean, this is gorgeous. This is just a huge consolidation pattern that's ready to resolve soon. And my suspicion is that it will be resolved to the upside. Now, we are, again, kind of playing off the eclipses. That's my kind of local play, is the the May 15th eclipse is kind of where I'm considering getting some of my chips out of this gambling casino. And that's just based on the prior performance of eclipses. So I actually do have a decode coming for the entire Shemitah. And that's going to be amazing. It'll be on Patreon. So again, anyone who's looking to join the Patreon Mastermind community, I do exclusive content over there. I'll be doing a full-blown Shemitah decode using Gematria. So for anyone who's interested in that, again, patreon.com/watersabov, and that'll be available for the Mastermind community. So with that being said, as long as XRP is holding this level right here of around, I would say 75, 76 cents, we're pretty good. And if it traded into those levels into the full moon and bounced, I could suspect we do see a $1 XRP by early May. That's not a prediction. That's just based on the structure. And that's based on the way that this chart has been setting up. So I'm really interested to see how this particular coin plays out this year, because it's the 22 year. Remember, I've shared this with you guys quite a bit. We're in the Hebrew year of 5782 since the Shemitah, and that's the 22. And of course, we're in the 222 year, which again comes back to the 22. And XRP equals 22 in the full reduction cipher. Also equals 15, just like Tiger, and we're also in the year of the Tiger and the Chinese New Year. So I'm really interested in how this is going to go for this month. Just got to wait and see, but XRP is definitely coiling up, and there's a lot of talk about the SEC case and this, that, and the third, and I pay zero attention to it. I'm just looking at this based on sentiment, and once this coin particularly gets really boring for people is when it likes to make big, shocking moves to the upside. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's decode that we started out with, basically telling everyone probably 3 months in advance that Bitcoin will hit 47K on this exact day. We hit that. Again, Gematria is the code that works behind the scenes, and you guys have it right at your fingertips. These Gematria calculators are free on the internet. All you have to do is have a little bit of base knowledge and apply it, and you will see how it works time and time again. All right. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix, and I'll be seeing you guys over on Patreon and in the Discord very soon. Much love.